Ready. Europe, a continent of 44 modernly brilliant countries built upon even richer histories. Lands that beg you to learn its past in order to understand its present. Places where travel is necessary in order to better grasp the actions of your neighbors. Today's guest will talk about her life in London, England, a cultural marvel to the likes of which most Americans have forgotten. The Humanities Mass Communications Department at Norwalk Community College presents The New Directors, the show that introduces you to television's future writers, directors, and personalities. And now, join our host, Renzo Pardo, to meet the next new director.
Thank you for joining us for today's edition of The New Directors. All the people involved in this program are students in the television production course and are directing, switching, controlling audio, operating cameras, and acting as talent for the first time today. The guests you're about to meet are students who, when not on camera, are behind the scenes working hard to bring this program to you with a few mistakes as possible. Each student will write and direct 4 direction programs. These programs will give them the chance to talk about themselves, the production they are planning, and give you the chance to get to know them and watch your progress through the semester. Our guest today will share with us some stories from when she lived in England. She plans to put her newfound creativity to good use, production more, film in the future. Please welcome Courtney.
Thank you. Thank you for having me today.
No problem. So, it says here you lived in England when you was little. Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, yeah, it was very exciting because we moved there for my dad's job, and he knew that he was going to be staying there for a long time, so he realized that he might not see us for a while, so he brought the whole family. Like, as you can see, there's my dad and my brother and me, and I was young at the time. We lived there for about 2 years, and they have a lot of holidays in this, or what we call vacations, in the school system. So we got so many chances to travel. Like, that's Andorra. That's a place, that's a little country in between Spain and France that, like, not a lot of people have known about. But it was very cool. We got to ski a lot. We got to, there was one time when we went to this chocolate factory in, that's well known in England. It's called Cadbury. It's a brand called Cadbury, and we got to eat chocolate. We went to Italy. We went to Sweden, Brussels. We went, let's see, France. We went to a little island on Greece, and there were a lot of attractions in England, in London itself. Like, that's the Millennium Dome, and that was only up for the turn of the millennium. So we got to actually see that, and it was so exciting. Like, there were jewels, and there were so many, there were different attractions in there. Like, there was a big replica of the human body that you could actually go through. Yeah, and I got to actually try on some costumes too. Like, that's a place called Land's End, and it's at the edge of England. So, and we got to dress up in Elizabethan clothes there, and yeah, that's the Isle of Wight. That's actually Queen Victoria's summer home, where she actually, yeah, she lived there for a long time. So it was so exciting. I'm so grateful for the opportunity to actually go there.
So can you tell us why you decided to take this TV production course?
Well, I've been interested in film for a long time, and for a while I wanted to go into film, and so I wanted to take a TV production course to see what it's like, because I'd never done any of this stuff. So it's pretty interesting.
Okay. What are some of the most useful things that you have learned in this TV production course?
Well, I've learned to edit videos. I've learned to use a camera and different camera movements. it was it was really cool learning all that stuff.
Tell us about the productions you created for the TV Production 1 class.
So my first production was the learning project, and we actually went out with a camera, and we had to shoot all these different types of camera angles, and like that's a long shot, and that's an extreme long shot with a partner. And it was pretty funny. As you can see, the person who I was working with kind of liked to joke around, so it was a lot of fun. Yeah. So, and this next one is was a sequence. It's called What's for Lunch, and it's where my actor cannot decide what he's going to have for lunch, but eventually he just gives up, and this guy's waiting behind him, and he's kind of getting pissed off. And so this was another fun one to use, and we actually at this point we learned that we couldn't, in order to make it movie look better, we couldn't move the camera around. We had to keep it still. This one's Where's the Monkey, and unfortunately in this clip I couldn't show it, but he's actually looking for a stuffed animal monkey in his bag, and it's kind of like I tried to make it like a Mary Poppins bag kind of look, but yeah, so he gets yeah. And finally, this is my fall foliage, and this was filmed in a place called Weir Farm. It's the only national park in Connecticut, and it was a lot of fun just to go out, and you could actually move the camera in this one because, well, the objects themselves aren't really moving, so it makes it more interesting. And I use different pans, and zoom in, zoom outs, continuous zoom ins and outs. Yes.
Nice. Now I know you had one project that you felt was your best. Tell us a little bit while we watch a sample of the video with the music you selected.
Well, that would be my fall foliage project. I titled it Autumn of New England, and it was really pretty, like I said, with the camera movements and all that, and the switch focuses, just because I especially love this scene because I love switching the focus from the reflection in the water to the leaves, so you could see what's being reflected, and then you could see the leaves blurring out. And it was just awesome. And the music that I chose for it, I wanted to convey like a Thanksgiving kind of home for the holidays with family, very mellow, because that's what I think of when I think of fall in New England, is like Thanksgiving and family, and it's all warm and friendly. And I enjoyed working out in the field, like in nature with a camera, so that was a pretty awesome opportunity to have.
You mentioned the variety of things you learned in this course. What was the most interesting and important skill you learned, and how will you put it to use?
Well, I learned the different methods of composition, like the different emotional lines, such as lines of joy are like when the lines go like that, like a bouquet of flowers or fireworks, and converging lines, which is when like lines go off into the distance and that's like to show the z-axis, which shows depth, or else it's just a 2D image on a screen. So, and I learned from my teacher, who was absolutely amazing, how to do like switch focus and just how to use the camera overall, which was really helpful because I hadn't really had much experience with like newer models of cameras. So it was really cool to actually get to use and learn on one of those cameras.
We would like to thank you, Courtney, for joining us today.
Thank you. Thank you. Thanks for having me.
We hope you enjoy meeting one of the television's future directors, and we hope you will continue to watch us each week with our progress. Thank you for joining us today, and have a good day.
This has been The New Directors with your host, Renzo Pardo, directed by Jordan Mills. I'm your announcer, Gerald Lingard. The New Directors is a Norwalk Community College student production.